Women Innovators. Interviews with women with big messages and big missions, sharing their stories to inspire you to live your passion and step up to make the world a better place. Here's your host, Tammy Patzer.
Hi, this is Tammy Patzer, and I'm excited to introduce you to our guest today, Melissa Sarazin. She is a multidimensional intuitive healer and energy practitioner, and she is an admired personal transformation catalyst and spiritual business mentor. She's the published author of How Saying Yes to Depression Leads Us into Healing, a journey back to self and a life abundant. It is her honest and open account of how depression affected her life, how she took responsibility for her part in the challenges that kept showing up no matter where in the world she was, and woke up to face that which scared her the most. It shares her deepest inner experiences that brought her back to her core and how she was able to heal from her past. She's also the co-author of the international best-selling book, 365 Ways to Connect with Your Soul. Melissa helps spiritual women who have been on a sacred path for some time and yet still struggle with specific areas of their life and business. It's her passion and life purpose to support women in healing their bodies and resetting their energy blueprints so they can step out into the world with confidence, clear guidance, and self-sovereignty. Welcome, Melissa.
Thank you, Tammy. I'm so happy to be here.
I'm really interested in many of the things. For example, you talk about helping people connect with their soul's purpose, their life path, and their business. And I think that's really important because for many of us, our spiritual life and our business life are interconnected. So that's really interesting. And I was reading about you, and you made a statement that kind of caught me in a very interesting way. You talk about being a spiritual misfit and how oftentimes we feel like we are a spiritual misfit. Can you talk more about what that means?
Yeah, absolutely. I would be happy to. When I discovered my spiritual self later in life. I didn't have a foundation of having any religious training or really any spiritual background. And so when I came to discover and remember that I had this spirit, that I was connected to this expansive, beautiful love that we all have access to, it took me a while to really integrate that into my everyday life. And while I was doing that, I was kind of, in the spiritual closet for a while. Then I kind of dipped my toe in the water and started talking about it a little bit, but not wanting to sound too woo-woo or crazy to people who were around me. And then I started to do healing work in my business, which was a complete diversion from being a trained chef and working in the hospitality industry. So for a long time, there was a part of me that just felt like I didn't fit anywhere. And lately, this idea of being this spiritual misfit, I see people honor their spiritual self oftentimes when they're alone, but then when they leave the door, it's like they leave their spiritual self behind. And so part of being that spiritual misfit is kind of not really integrating it in a way that helps you to become all of who you are in every moment of your life, not just when it feels safe or when it feels, proper, but just really honoring all of who you are all the time.
I really think that's really interesting because we all we're human beings, and obviously we have a physical body and we have our spiritual body. You also talk about this balance. When you talk about balance, what do you mean?
That's a great question because that's something that gets debated a lot. I see, especially in the Facebook groups that I'm in. Balance for me is really about discovering what is important to you, discovering what it is that lights you up from the inside, and then integrating that into everything that you do. So it's kind of a different way of looking at balance. It's really about creating your life from the inside out and just allowing your body to feel relaxed in every situation that you're in.
So you also talk about balance in the feminine and the masculine sense. What exactly does that mean?
Well, we all have a masculine and feminine side. And, we know that we live in a patriarchal society. And I myself was brought up in a very masculine sense of being, the way that I have been trained to look at things, the way that I have been trained to think about things and then act on those things. They're all very masculine oriented. And even though I was born in a feminine body, there was a lot of stuff that I was carrying around with me that didn't match what I was being taught on the outside. And so when I started to go inside, I started to connect with this energy that I knew was mine, but I didn't know anything about it. And then as I kind of dived in a little bit more and started working with it, it turned out that it was my feminine energy and it wanted just as much attention as my masculine energy. And so when I dived into my feminine, there was a lot of healing that needed to be done with my idea of what feminine was. That's where I started. And then I circled back to the masculine, and my masculine needed to be healed as well. And once both of them were honored, once both of them were activated within me, and I started to actively work with both of them, I understand that they both work in different ways, but they also work together. And so it's about getting to that place in your life where you bring the masculine and the feminine, you heal them so that they come together in this sacred union, and then together they move forward and bring their energy into everything that we're creating and developing and moving towards in our life.
So how does that match with your unique gifts and talents?
Yeah, that's a really great question. Well, I had mentioned that balance for me, a lot of it is about living life from the inside out. And we're generally not taught how to go inside. We're taught how to think with our brains. We're taught how to analyze information and then to solve the problem by focusing on the problem. But when you go inward, the first thing that you discover is this light and this connection. And it's an intangible part of us. And so when we come to something that's intangible, we've been taught to be very wary or skeptical of it. At least I was. And so I've learned over the years to bring that intangible experience into the tangible and to create structure. And once that structure and those steps are there to express the intangible, that's when we start to become magnetic. We start to really embody our wholeness. We start to understand and realize our purpose, and everything that we do is moving towards that. And so we start to manifest in the way that we are actually born to do. So what I say is it's the way that we're wired. And so with my healing abilities, what I'm able to do is I help people get to the core of any patterns that they have created in their life that they're ready to let go of. We get to the core of that. We discover what was the experience that put that pattern into place. We remove that, we heal that experience, and then we add our own energy, and we use our power of choice and our power of directing our energy in the direction that we want to go to create a new space so that we can align all of our energy. It's like calling back fragments of ourselves and pulling them all together and connecting all those best parts of ourselves to form a whole.
That's interesting. As you said that, I could see like me standing there with my hands open and all these little pieces being sucked back.
Neat.
So when you are doing this, how do you help people? What is it that you do to work with the people to help them to find and reconnect with their feminine and their masculine, and then pull themselves into this whole being?
Mm-hmm. The foundation that I use is a birth chart. And a lot of people are familiar with astrology, and the popular form of astrology, I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head. There's a form of astrology that's called shamanic astrology. And the birth chart, as it comes through, it gives you what I like to call your unique energy map. I talked about how we're all wired specifically to fulfill our purpose and to learn the lessons and the things that we're here to learn. And so from this astrology, the shamanic astrology birth chart, I then help people. It gives them a map, and it gives them the deep insight into all these parts of themselves. It gives you your feminine and masculine, and it relates it to archetypes. And whenever we use archetypes, I find that it's really easy to recognize patterns based on the archetypes. So I have a feminine and masculine. Both my feminine and masculine live in a specific archetype. When I know that and I know how to work with that energy, I can then bring into alignment whatever it is I want to change. And it's easier because it gives them that foundation of where to look, how to look. And then with my healing abilities, I help them to, like I said, get to that core, clear it out, and realign themselves so that, again, they can step into learning what it is they came to learn and to fulfill their purpose.
So can you give me some examples of some of the archetypes that are represented?
Yes, the archetypes that are used in shamanic astrology are the zodiac archetypes. So it's, Aquarius, Aries, Taurus, Gemini. It's the 12 archetypes. And each one of those archetypes have a specific, what they call gate of awareness that they've come to help us learn. And then depending on where those archetypes are located on your map. So the map gives you your sun sign. Your sun sign is all about the fuel, the energy that you need to produce inside of your body in order to have the energy to take the actions that you're here to take. There's a part of the map that shows you what you've come in knowing, so the knowledge that you already have. There's, of course, your purpose that you've come here to learn about and to experience, as well as a supporting archetype to that. There's your feminine and masculine side. There's the way that you look at the world. There's the archetype that helps you get to your purpose faster. So it shows you essentially that, okay, this is who you are. These are all your parts. Now I'm going to help you bring them all together so that they're working together like a team.
Wow. So if somebody's interested in developing their spiritual talents, how would you suggest that they would go about it?
Well, there's lots of ways. One way is just really turning the light on inside. I know sometimes that's the scariest thing to do, but to really just start cultivating that relationship that you have with yourself on an inner level. You can do that through meditation, through journaling, through automatic writing. I'm a Reiki master, so when I first started, that was the first thing I was introduced to. That was the first time I was introduced to this concept that there was something bigger than me that was supporting my life and what was going on. So there's all those things. And, of course, I'm going to suggest that you get your unique energy map chart done. I do those, and I help people, understand how they're made up. And, I can tell you from my own experience, when I learned mine and I started working with it and just, sitting with the different archetypes, I really began to see the patterns of my life, why I was attracted to the things, the people, and the opportunities that I were, why I was led on this path as opposed to this path when I had those chances to make choices in my life and different things like that. And it just gave me a sense of calm that, okay, everything in my life was for me. It wasn't, to hurt me. But I understood why I acted the way that I was. And it just gave me this sense of peace and this calm and let me step into my next step in my own life and my own path.
So, do you also connect with angels?
I do, yeah, absolutely.
Well, the reason I'm asking that is because the sponsor of this program is actually Angel Ministries of Florida. And often when I speak to my guests, it seems like I get the prompting to ask about, well, what is your connection to angels and how do they play into your talents and your gifts and your connection to the universe and that energy, because I know that angels operate at a very high frequency. So I always am interested, and I was just prompted to ask you that question.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. I know about the archangels and ascended masters, and through Reiki, there are specific ascended masters that come through with Reiki energy. And so whenever I'm doing my healing work, I'm always asking for the support of what I call the ethereal allies. They're there for all of us. I'm huge with numbers personally. So when I see a number or I see a repetitive number, I have my angel number book that I use to receive guidance. Sometimes I just ask for their help. It's one way that I use to really help myself to feel supported when I might feel that the people in my life are not quite understanding where I am yet. And so I call on the angelic realm and ask them for support and to help me keep my energy and my vibration high so that I can continue to live my purpose.
That's beautiful. So what is the biggest lesson or truth that you've learned in your life so far?
The biggest one is that you can change. A lot of people that I talk to, they're stuck in their stuff, and we all get stuck in our stuff. But there is also a knowing that we all have that we, for whatever reason, when we're stuck, we disbelieve or we can't quite get access to. And since I've healed my life from depression and I've been through all these other different challenges, thinking that I'm going to lose everything that I had built in my life, and then really just come into a place where I've awakened my passion, my purpose, and I enjoy my work again. I enjoy sharing and holding that space for transformation to happen with people. It is possible for all of us to create whatever change it is that our heart is leading us towards. And, it's something that does take time. It takes commitment and determination. Life is a journey. It's not a destination. And if I can change my life from the place that I was in, then I know that anybody who's desiring it, that the possibility is here for them to do the same.
I think you're absolutely right that it does take time, commitment, determination, and I think everybody definitely go check out the books that she is involved with, because for many people, depression is something that they don't really understand it, but you can get help for it and take a look at her book and see what she has to say about it. I want to ask you to share a short meditation or prayer or affirmation. Would you be willing to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think it's very powerful every morning to wake up and to consciously direct your energy. A lot of the times, we'll wake up and we're already into our daily routine. What I like to suggest for anyone and everyone is to begin your morning by having just a few moments of quiet. I often get up before everybody else in my house does so that I can have that space. And, you only need 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. It's whatever it is that works for you. But what I do in those moments of quiet is I just take some time to breathe deeply into my body. I slow my breath down and I just come present to that moment. And what I do is I imagine that my energy goes down my spine through my body. And so I drop my energy from my body down into the core of the earth. And then I ask that energy from the core of the earth to come up through my body, and I breathe it in. And immediately I find that it helps me to ground myself. I feel heavier in my body. That's how I feel when I invite that earth energy in. And then I invite it into my heart and I let it sit there and I breathe into it. And then I imagine my crown chakra opening and I go up to the center of the universe, to source, and I bring that energy into my body. And as I bring that energy, it brings that expansive nature of me into my body. And I bring that all the way down into my body. I take it down to the core of the earth, and then I bring all of that energy back up into my heart. And for me, what that does is, it does a lot of things. It connects the as above, so below that we'll talk about in spirituality. And it just makes me feel like my body is a bridge to the physical world as well as to the spiritual. So it connects me to both. And then I just ask, I say every morning, I ask to be directly connected with the divine. I ask for spirit to lead me and guide me in all my actions and my words. And I make a declaration that I'm open to receive everything that's here for me, all the love, all the good that's available to me in each moment. And if I have a specific intention for the day, if I, know I want extra help for what I'm doing, then I'll say, it's my intention to keep my focus on this task so that I can create this, whatever it is. And, just beginning each day this way, it really helps me to step into my own personal power, to feel that connection, to ask for it. Because if we don't ask for anything, we can't receive anything. And then I know that as I go through the times in my day, if there's anything that pops up that throws me off of balance, I know that I can ask for help to bring me back into balance. And it just helps me consciously connect with that support and that love that's here for us. And it helps me to relax and to enjoy what it is I'm doing a lot better, no matter what's showing up.
That's beautiful. What I think that you said is really important is you can ask for help. And often that is something that people, for some reason, they don't think that it's okay to ask for help, but it is okay to ask for help and to expect that the help will come to you when you need it. And it has been proven time again that there have been miracles, what have been perceived to be miracles when somebody does stop in a moment and say, please help me,
Mhm.
and the universe, God, Jesus, angels, whomever it is that you are asking to help you, and help does come. And that is a very beautiful thing to start the day grounded. And another thing that I think is important is that you don't have to have any special prayer. It can just be you talking and visualizing, like you said, grounding to the earth and going up into the center of the universe and bringing this energy into your body and asking for guidance from spirit. So that really is a very beautiful piece of information that you just gave us. So where can we find out more about you and your services?
Yeah. I am really most active on Facebook, and I have a Facebook page that you can find at facebook.com/Sacred Vision Life. I post on there daily and I interact with people there. You can message me through that page as well if you want to get into contact. I am in the process of building a new website, but I do have an older website that you can find at www.myauthenticnature.com. And there's some information there, and there's some free gifts there that people can download and find out more about me as well. I also have a YouTube channel where I'm posting 2 or 3 or 4 videos a month, and I'm sharing different things that come up for myself and my clients, and I'm sharing steps on how to really just manage energy on a daily basis, no matter what it is that's going on for you in your life and your business. So I can be found on YouTube at Melissa Sarazin.
Okay, so YouTube is Melissa Sarazin, and that's Sarazin.
Yes.
Melissa, thank you so much for sharing everything with us today. I really appreciate it. And again, remember, check out her book, How Saying Yes to Depression Leads Us into Healing, A Journey Back to Self and a Life Abundant, and also the 365 Ways to Connect with Your Soul. Those are available on Amazon.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So check those out, and definitely visit Melissa at Facebook and check out her myauthenticnature.com, because she said the magic words, free gifts, and you can go check those out. Melissa, I really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. It's been my pleasure. Absolutely.
This is Tammy Patzer. Go make it a great day.
You've been listening to Women Innovators with Tammy Patzer. To learn more, please go to womeninnovatorsradio.com. And please do subscribe and share to spread the big messages and big missions to change the world.